Well, good morning, fellow creators. Ben here. It is 7 a.m. Saturday, October 14th. Getting a very early start this morning. And I was in bed pretty early last night. Don't necessarily want to be up this early, but here I am. I'm up. I'm awake. It's time to paint. So, I've got myself a lot of stuff to do today, painting not included. So it's probably a good thing I'm up this early. I can knock out the studio time, this vlog, and several other things. Yeah. I got a painting to get back to. So I was thinking this week, kicking some ideas around, about how everything is short form content now. And I've talked about this in the past, and how this is one of those, I know it's a passing fad. It will loop around again. You know, same thing with like when Vine was popular, like interest in longer form stuff dipped, Vine disappeared, longer form interest went back up. But earlier this year, when I was putting out a couple of shorts that were edited out of some of my older videos, my views and interest and new subscribers to the channel went up. So, and since then, like, it was fun. It was like fun to make them for a while, and now I'm like, now it's just a chore to rehash something I've already said. But I gotta be honest, I am equally as guilty as everybody else these days of sitting through Instagram, just scrolling through reels. So it's really, for me, a matter of I have to start making more short things again, just to, you know, keep up with, you know, like the market and the trend and everything. But I was thinking, because the first few I did, I was trying to like cut. I'm like, how do I cut a 10, 15-minute video down into a 1-minute video? It's like, here's a thought. Maybe I don't do that. Maybe don't try to compress all of that information into one video or one short, whatever. Just take like a really useful 30-second segment or 20 seconds or whatever, short segment, and use that. So a 5 things video could be 5 different shorts. And that seems really obvious, but I don't know why I didn't think about it before, but I was like, that would work, because I wouldn't have to sacrifice the integrity of the long form stuff by trying to cut stuff out. I would just have to cut it apart. So I'm hoping to kind of look through my recent like 5 years worth of videos sometime today, and look for segments that I can pull that work as good like standalone sound bites. So this painting's coming along quite nicely. I got a good session into it but last weekend, Sunday mostly. And so it's I put a big gold glaze over the tree section, and even that I'm not 100% happy with. So this piece is probably going to get a treatment, sort of that oil buff treatment at the end, and I'm probably going to use like a red oxide for that to give it a really warm glow, similar to what's going on in the water right now. So yeah, on the plus side for this morning, I am really at a good place in this painting where I have enough big brush work to do and small detail brush work to do that I'm not going to be like split in my concentration. So that helps. Oh, I just noticed something else. So I am reaching to the point where I'm starting to overly collect my painted empty bottles. And I do want to find a way to start finding a way to sell them more readily. So I have a bunch of them that are more plain, like this one is, that don't have any kind of major surface interest other than some texture. So I'm thinking if I could probably manage to paint a scene on these, and probably sell them for maybe like $100 a pop. So something more simple, obviously. So I've got a couple of darker ones. Then I have a number of these ones that are sort of like brown and aged like this. So I think like a fun wraparound design could be fun, and that might end up being something that goes to the gallery. But other than that, I'm gonna quit talking and get started because I need to. So in my process, as I'm sitting here, well, standing at this point now, starting to have some other thoughts. Thought I'd share them. That's the whole point of the vlog, I suppose. So for ages, and ages and ages, as long as the gallery's been open, when I say the gallery, I mean Redfish Bowl, the place I regularly show my work in the city. My contacts there have always been like, oh, we got to teach a class, you got to do a workshop or something. And I'm like, I have no idea what to do a class or a workshop on. One, because I've been making videos for like 12 years. All of my knowledge is here on this channel, and for free, without having to, sign up for a class or something. But I'm also like, how do I condense or even expand the stuff I do into a lesson with other people? Like, I've been doing video stuff for so long, I'm not even sure I know how to teach in a group like that without being like, no, do it this way, and being really frustrated, So it's just again, I've been kicking around, sitting in my head lately, because I've been trying to force myself to go out and do more stuff at the gallery, which I still have not yet done. It's been 3 months, and there's been this weekly, it's called the Meeting of the Minds, which I'm like, that sounds neat. It's like, oh, it's a potluck breakfast on like the second Sunday of the month. I'm like, well, first of all, that's the same weekend as my newsletter goes out every week, or everything, so that didn't line up perfectly. But two, something has always come up. Always. In the past 3 or 4 months that I've been wanting to do this, something's always come up and I've been unable to do it. This past one, I might have been able to squeeze it in, but of course something came up and I couldn't do it. So it's like, damn it. And also, like, I'm not... This might come out as surprising considering how animated I am on this channel. I'm not a huge people person. So the idea of me sitting in a room with, 15 people I don't know, I'm like, that just makes me really uncomfortable. And I know I'm not going to really be able to work on my best stuff if I do that. I'm going to have to pick something small that I don't... Like a piece like this I couldn't possibly work on there for, well, multiple reasons. One, there technically isn't quite enough space, having 15 people shoved in a room together like that. especially with how often I move around and switch the canvas, and like I'd have to be like, okay, everybody give me like 12 feet of space. It wouldn't really work. But anyhow, back to the workshop thing. I'm thinking if I can scrape down, so rather than trying to do like a whole big process thing, what if I just pick, like the shorts, what if I just pick something small? And my thought was landscape composition. Because there's so many people at that gallery that really, really like my work. And I don't meet them, and then later on I'll be there dropping something off, and there'll be another artist dropping some other thing off, or people that are just, you know, coming in off the street that are regulars. And then they meet me and they're like, "Oh my God, I really love your work and thing, and it's such an honor to meet you," and whatever. Because I'm not there enough, so I don't. I'm like the elusive white tiger, you know.
Is he doing his David Attenborough thing again?
It's one of those things where it's like people will suddenly meet me, and then it'll be like, "Oh," you know, and that always feels weird. But I mean, even among the other artists, they're like, "Man, thing, and I love your landscapes, and they're really cool, and whatever." It's like, "Oh, thanks for the ego stroking." But I think if anything, like, because there's a lot of people there that I think don't really dabble in landscapes, but they're trying to do more stuff that leans in that direction, I guess. Like, you know, a figure with a backdrop kind of thing. So, I'm thinking, like composition is something I know really, really, really well. Well, one, because I'm a landscaper, and two, because I've been doing it forever. And there's definitely a lot of artists there that are really, really good, but definitely lack some depth and nuance to their work, especially in terms of composition. So, you know, breaking down and practicing things like, you know, the rule of thirds and you know, natural framing and you know, rehashing some perspective and horizon line placement and stuff. I think that could be really useful and something that I think a lot of people at that gallery, a lot of artists at the gallery would be interested in. So as I'm working here this morning, I think I'm going to jot down some ideas for that, provided can come up with enough to maybe fill like a 2-hour workshop or something. I think I like the idea of calling it a workshop and not a class, because class almost implies a teacher-student thing, and I think for especially if you know, a lot of the artists that are there sign up, a lot of those artists are 1,000 times better than I am, so it's like I don't want to feel like I'm, you know, coming from that perspective, you know, when they are notably more technically skilled than I am. So it's just stuff I'm kicking around. So I just recorded a short. Wasn't even really trying to come up with something because I was working on the piece, but I was thinking about, here's a long version of this YouTube short, is that if natural hair brushes are just that, natural hair, why not condition them with actual shampoo? I don't know if that would work. I don't know if it would do anything weird to the brushes, but I was like, wait a minute, natural hair. I have natural hair too. Some of it still left on the top of my head, not much. But I'm like, that makes so much sense. Like, why, after you clean your brushes with whatever you clean them with, hit them with a rinse of shampoo and conditioner. And it's like, I wonder if that would actually do anything in the long run. It's a really funny thought. If any of you guys have ever had this thought or tried it before, or I will get back to you guys on it, because I definitely have to give it a shot, because it seems kind of nuts. Have to find the right brush to do some tests with, but yeah, I was just like why is that just not a thing? Like, why don't you just use shampoo to Keep your brushes healthy, the same way you would with the hair on top of your head. Anyway, that's funny. So I'm getting along pretty far here. It's about 9:30. I got all the raw. Hello. There we go. I got all the rocks, at least the ones that aren't in like the four big foreground rocks, and this can wait a little bit. Taken care of with highlights and shadows. I got a couple of roots and some other things I just put in, as well as the most of the greens for the grass. At this point, I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit more glazing with the colors of the water. It doesn't need a ton, but it is a little too red at this point. I want to reflect more of these golds. And then the tree golds up here, so I have to do a little bit of remixing some brown colors. And then the waterfalls are going to get another. At least the ones closest to the horizon are getting another thinner layer of like a zinc white. And then I got to do like I don't want to grab the spray paint again for more mist because that's really far back at this point. But I do need to fade a little bit in here, so that'll be more zinc white layers and buffing and stuff like that. But I'm gonna give this probably, those layers and that. And once I get the waterfalls and that and the water lines, I'm probably gonna go ahead and step back and get into my chores for the day. But it's coming along. It's like in my brain, I'm like, I'm ready for this piece to be over, but I'm like, it's only like half done. So between that and the foreground elements and final detailing, and yeah, probably closer to like 65%. But still, it's a big piece. It's gonna take me a while. I really gotta take my time with this. And luckily, I've got plenty of music playlists for just such an occasion. Also, in addition to that, I was talking about the workshop idea. Started writing stuff down. Stuck it in the corner. I'm like, I got this cardboard with a black spray on it. I'm like, wonder if one of my white markers will write on it. And sure enough, it did. So I'm just jotting stuff down. I'm thinking using thumbnails as like the workshop exercise, and then just a few talking points and stuff to go over. Hopefully review for any other professionals hanging out at the workshop. But it was like, remember all the stuff you learned in school when it comes to like perspective and rule of thirds and vanishing points? It's like, yeah, you got to think about all of that stuff while you're making a landscape every time. And I do. But yeah. All right, I'm going to dive back into this. About to this point now where I do know I kind of need to stop, not necessarily because things are wet and they need to dry, but even with putting some of these water lines in, I'm kind of seeing like I'm already not in. Like I've been staring at the same piece for too long. I have to come back with new eyes for the next few major steps. The white that I mixed up isn't opaque enough to really go over these waterfalls. And because I'm going to glaze over everything later, it doesn't really make sense to do that now. So like when I do the oil, the oil glaze towards the end, when I come back in after that, I'll do sort of my final detailing, probably with a little bit of white oil and some other colors to kind of do that extra little detailing. So I'll let that sit for sort of the final phases. And I'll probably, since I'll be doing the oil glaze, I think I just said this, but in a different extent, doing the big final, all the big final details with oil would probably be better. So I'll do the waterfalls in the river and some of the line work, but I'll have to go back over that again anyway. But as long as it's in there somewhere, excuse me, as a placeholder, I should be fine. So I've been down here for about 3.5 hours, which is, I gotta be honest, more time than I've put in the studio in several weeks. I put a decent amount of time in the past too, but at least not in one sitting. But I gotta get out of these long pants now since it's has finally warmed up from the morning chill. and I'm actually starting to sweat. So I am going to go ahead and call this a vlog, I think. I've got a bunch of other videos to deal with today, as well as a bunch of stuff around the house, so I'm going to go ahead and focus in on those things, as long as I have the motivation and energy to do, which I currently do, which is rare. So, got to hold on to that motivation while I've got it. So, I want to thank all of you guys for checking this vlog out. And this has been reminding you to keep on creating. I will see you guys next time.